Seen someone's head fly off or blow up or melt down? Well, if you did, it was probably the work of our first guest, master of the macabre, creator of special makeup effects for shockers like Dawn of the Dead, Maniac, and I can't even say this without getting cold chills, Friday the 13th. Please welcome Tom Savini. Great. I can't, how can I deal with this? This is unbelievable.
What's your problem? I don't know.
Oh, God.
I better take them out, though, if I'm going to talk to you. And...
Okay. Oh. And they're like contact lenses? These are just...
They're called sclera.
Sclera. And were they plastic?
Mm-hmm.
So,
plastic or glass, depends.
And these, let's see those fangs again. Ah. And you can... Gee, that's a...
Sometimes the tops are more effective, but then it gives you a lisp and you can't really talk. Mean with them, you know.
Vampires, probably with vampires.
There you go.
And those are specially made for you?
Yeah, I made them from a cast of my own teeth.
Tell me about this whole thing of special effects. It's really gone through a lot of changes in the past, say, 20 years. And you've sort of followed that. Tell us about the history of special effects.
Well, there's all sorts of special effects used in films. Traveling mats, opticals, glass paintings. This is just an example of makeup special effects, which is what I do, and that's what my credit usually is in films. Makeup special effects have always been around. Wizard of Oz, way back into silent films, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney. That's where it started for me. I saw a film called Man of a Thousand Faces, which was the story of Lon Chaney, and from that moment on, makeup's been my thing.
Wow. Oh, it's gotten very technical. Show us some of the things you have here.
Sure. These are all things from a movie I just finished called Creepshow.
Oh, yeah.
Where, well, first let me say that Creepshow is my opportunity to get away from blood and gore films, splatter films, as they've been called, okay? Splatter films are on the way out. And the monsters are coming back. They're remaking The Thing. They're remaking The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And I'm lucky enough to have
Should I say that's good news? I mean,
oh, yeah, I think it's great
either
news.
way, I
think
can tell you this is scare me out of the seat. Yeah,
I think it's fabulous news. And I'm lucky enough to have just finished a film that has used lots of monsters and creatures and special makeups. And that's what these are a part of. This is an over-the-head mask the guy wore coming out of a grave, rising. Yeah, see that? Yeah. See that stringy stuff in his teeth?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Creepshow is a living comic book, and the stringy stuff between all these monsters' teeth has always been sort of a trademark of those, that kind of comic book. So this is made from latex and Rice Krispies and...
Rice Krispies, really?
Yeah, Rice Krispies. It's molded from the life mask of the actor who wears it. He wears it like a mask. It's got a fiberglass insert, so the lower jaw will move at once like a real that's skeleton wood.
That's a long way from Snap, Crackle, Pop, let me tell you.
And these are his hands. Yeah. So he wore these. These are slip-on appliances.
That's right. I do remember. These comic books were from like the 50s, right?
Oh yeah.
And they had all these things. Yeah.
Oh, they were. You talk about splatter. Those comic books were full of splatter and gore and stuff. You know.
Well, now what are these we got here?
Okay, this is an animated hand. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. So the fingers are movable. It moves exactly the way a real hand would move.
So you've actually got like a bone structure of an armature inside there.
Oh yeah, there's an armature. This goes crawling across the floor and grabs it out of his pant leg. Like that. And he throws it off and it goes crawling back and grabs it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's got a good grip on it too.
It really does. Oh God, show us. Oh, what are we...
Okay, this is there's a monster. There's a monster in Creepshow that I can't show you or tell you about. He's been nicknamed Fluffy. We want to keep him a secret for when he appears in the film. This is his hand, though. It's not decorated, and it's not...
So there's a real hand inside it.
Oh, yeah. The actor who wears Fluffy wears the hands also. This is what's left of Adrienne Barbeau once Fluffy gets a hold of her. Hi, boys and girls.
Oh,
that's what's left of her.
You watch... This will... Take your eye. Oh, that's going to be scary.
And this was just the way the corpse hand comes out of the mold before we decorate it with the Rice Krispies and the latex.
So this again is cast in latex?
Right. This is called foam latex.
Foam. Okay.
One of the innovations of special effects. And
now you've got something big here.
Are we ready to go over to him?
Yeah. Let's try something. Show me what I should do here.
What are we going to do? Are we going to call somebody out of the audience, perhaps?
Yeah. What do you want me to do? Okay.
You hold this and push all these levers forward when I tell you to, okay?
All right.
And I'll operate this thing. Let's see if we can lift it up here a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
All right, let's. What
So
now?
you
Just
push
these.
all those
Push.
levers
Here we
forward,
go.
right?
Let's have a volunteer here.
Let's pick out.
Hey, Chris,
Who's he
come on
pointing
over.
to?
Come on.
Okay, we got Chris here. You want to shake hands with him, Chris. Now,
Chris?
open the hand. When Chris grabs it, close it. There you go. Not too hard, Chris. This is a real skeleton. He's really fragile.
This is a real skeleton.
It's a real skeleton imported from India. The boxes these things come in, they have to be labeled as to the origin. And I had 3 or 4 skeletons ordered from this company in North Carolina. When they arrived, the boxes all said, shipped from India. So,
Times are tough.
well, I guess in India.
Now, you do what you want with Chris. I don't
Okay,
know what to do here.
are we on the face? Because we can do a thing with the
All right.
face here.
Let's try the face.
Why don't you grab this mechanism?
you do
Oh, yeah,
that.
Chris.
You do that.
Now, what you need to do, Chris, maybe you should stay over there.
Okay.
Push those forward. Push those levers. Don't do it yet, though. I have to turn him on. Turn the power on.
This
at
is
least.
radio control, so you're actually into...
Yeah, these are, this is all part of remote control airplanes, you know, kids who go out and fly these planes. Inside the head, he's full of remote control mechanisms in there that'll make him do this. Now let's, okay, when I say you push those forward, push them forward, okay? Go ahead now. See that? Now it took 11 people to operate. You can let go of that now.
And
Here.
let's relax a smile. Oh,
Yeah.
that's thanks, Chris. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Chris.
Dad, this kind of thing, this would be a part, the camera selectively takes this.
Oh,
so you
sure,
think this is the whole creature here, and you've got people all off frame operating?
Right. When you see this creature, he's got a costume on, a very free-flowing costume. He's got a hood on, and there's a wind machine going, so his hair is blowing, and the costume is swirling. And the 11 people behind him are making him look around, smile, and do this to kids, and point. He raises his head. He looks around by turning this mechanism. So we actually had to choreograph all these movements for the camera when we shot the film, or this segment of the film, his segment. His name is Raoul, by the way. We nicknamed everything in the film.
Let me go over here. I've got some anxious questions over here. Yeah. Where's my... Yeah.
How long did it take you to make that?
To make Raoul? Well, it's hard to say because as we were working on Raoul, we were also working on other things at the same time. We only finished Raoul when it was time for him to go on camera, say the next day or so. I really can't, I would estimate it took maybe 2 months, you know, with all the time combined.
What you're moving from is really something even closer from makeup into almost puppetry. I mean, like
Oh, sure, this is
advanced
a glorified
puppetry.
Muppet.
Yeah.
Not a glorified, it's an
Industrial
evil...
strength Muppet. It really is like hardcore. Yeah. Let me get back here.
Like say just for that movie, the new movie you made, Creepshow.
Yeah.
How much did it cost for, say, all the not special effects, but things like that?
Again, that's a question that I can't answer. Now, usually, I have a budget. I say I need this much money to do all these effects, and I keep what's left, okay? In this case, I had a salary, and they paid for everything I wanted, so I don't know what's on their books. If I said I needed something, it just piled up at the end, and I really have no idea how much it cost.
That's a nice thing about being creative, so you don't have to deal with that.
To have the freedom to
Yeah.
request anything you want for the good of the film, and you get it, you know?
Well, it comes from your reputation, I'm sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you ever get into three-dimensional movies?
Get into them personally, sure, I've loved them, but I've never made any, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, did any special effects for them?
No, I haven't.
Will you ever be able to use him again in any other movie, or will it be like
as a matter of fact...
trademark?
Well, legally, I don't know. It depends on how much of him is seen. Like, I might be able to use the hand, let's say the hand coming in and grabbing somebody. It all depends on what the script calls for. If I can use a part of him, I might. Or I might just build another one from scratch again.
That's so anatomically correct. How do you know so much about that?
About skeletons and things?
Yeah.
Well, it comes from, you have to study anatomy. There are lots of books out. But personally, I was a combat photographer in Vietnam, and I saw a lot of anatomically correct gore, let's say. And that's all I really want to say about that.
What has got to be the most complicated special effect, makeup-wise?
Personally?
Yeah.
I would say it's between Raoul and Fluffy. Now, it's hard for you to realize why Fluffy without seeing him, but Fluffy to me is my masterpiece, and when you see Creepshow, you'll understand why. He's more complicated than this guy.
She already asked you if you could use him again, but what do you do if you can't? It looks like a lot of work to go to waste after you do the movie.
Oh, you're kidding?
Do
This
you keep
guy,
them?
he sits on my dresser at home. Fluffy is back there right now waiting for me to come home. I bring people over and they see them, and they're like, But like if I was an artist and did a painting and never sold it and it was on my wall, there's my work. Fluffy is my painting sitting at home on my dresser. Oh, sorry, what?
We wouldn't want to be invited to dinner to your house.
Well, I'm used to it.
Do you ever just get emotionally attached to these guys?
Well, I am rather
Some
fond
of
of
them just
Raoul.
become your friends. I mean, if you had to scrap that after the movie, how would you feel about that?
No, I wouldn't. I try. It was in my contract that I get to keep all these things, you know. That's the safest thing for me, to avoid feelings like that. You know, because I'm hired to create the monsters for the film. Once the film is over, you know, these are mine. These are my creations, you know.
It's interesting. You also have in your contract, I understand, you get to direct those scenes. The special effects, makeup people really having more and more power over the whole horror features.
And there's a reason for that. If I can briefly explain, these are illusions. These are magic tricks. Okay? When a magician fools you, he makes you look here while he's doing something down here, okay? Or he's using mechanical devices you know nothing about. The finished result is what fools you. So, in movies, there's this one blank screen, and we only show you on that screen what we want to show you, using mechanical devices, using continuity tricks and editing, to fool you, just like a magician does.
Do you ever have nightmares?
I used to when I was a kid, but I stopped.
About these things coming to life or coming out?
No, because they're Rice Krispies and rubber.
I guess that's one way to get the nightmares out, really. Once you get them out.
Sure. Haven't you heard about somebody who had stage fright, so they want to go be an actor to get that out of their system? Well, in a way, subconsciously or not, you know, essentially that's what happened to me. Movies were ruined for me once I started working in them, because I see all the things that happen behind, you know, the scene that we actually see.
Out of all the movies you've done, which one was your favorite?
The last one, I would say, because my masterpieces are in them.
Creepshow, yeah.
Creepshow, yeah.
What's your least favorite?
Pardon?
What's your least favorite?
Well, I did a film called Maniac, and that's an example of not being you're never aware of what the finished film is going to be, or what it's going to look like, or what the mood of it is, or where it's going when you're making it. You know, I'm in there, I'm doing my effects, and then it's up to the director, the editors, you know, as to what that film becomes. I would say that in that particular film, it was a showcase for my effects, but it's probably the grisliest, goriest film I've ever done, and there's a point where you stop scaring people and you start turning people off. You make them sick. Well, I don't want to do that, and I'm not doing that anymore, as and Creepshow is leading me away from that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, one last, we have a quick
You find
question.
yourself having a nightmare one night and then creating it the next day for a movie?
Oh, well, I can't say truthfully that some of the things I create come from nightmares, but they do come from other people's nightmares. Somebody's nightmare, somebody's painting that's a nightmare, night gallery, or famous paintings of the past. They're like the Bosch paintings, those hideous creatures, you know. They'll be inspirations, but real life has a lot of horrors in it, and I've seen my share of those, you know, a long time ago.
Seeing these horror pictures, it is cathartic.